What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino. I'm sorry, Nick from kindoffunny.com. You have a question already?
Thank you, Greg. Now, a long time ago, you told me that when you and I moved in together, we could get the Chandler Bing slash Joey Tribbiani chairs that they had from Friends. And now I see that Shaun has them, and I'm very, very, very jealous of these things.
I mean, you can say that, but of course, Tim has them too. Like, we're just behind the times here with our couches.
No, Tim has literally the entire cast of Friends and some of the Ray Romano. Everybody loves Raymond cast. Could fit in Tim's little. I just want you and me be able to hold hands, share popcorn.
You just want some brown out chairs back there.
Yeah,
Ray Romano and the cast of Friends.
Sean, I like how I started yelling as if Sean. Oh, they're motorized.
Oh, they're mobilized. Time to go mobilize.
That's exactly what Tim has.
So I have a full counter in my room. I have the streaming stuff here, and I have a TV on the other side.
Okay.
But watch this. This is the secret. Watch this.
If you're an audio listener, he's in a chair hitting buttons.
Oh, it has the extra adjustment for the neck thing.
So you got the neck
you
motorization there too.
This is the first step toward Wally. I just want everyone to know
Wally.
that.
That's true. That is the
forever.
first step to Wally.
Takes forever. That's for y'all.
I want you to know that I thought his secret was going to be he just falls asleep. I thought he was going to fall asleep, just be there for the rest of the podcast.
Amazing. Great.
Does not come back.
Professionals.
Of course, the man in the chair is none other than GameAttack, Shaun Bolen.
Hey, I like the stream stuff. It's hard coming on the show after Completionist. I used to upload his videos as an intern to websites. So
Screw Attack, right?
Yeah. Tim was like I think last week he tweeted, he was like, the stellar lineup of amazing creators continues with Completionist. And I was just like, oh, that's too bad. It's got to end.
We're taking a small little break with you here. Next week we'll get back to some real shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And of course, that man who made this all happen, Forbes 30 under 30, aka the second best baby blues in San Francisco, aka the verified one, Tim Geddes. Yes. Tim, I'm sorry to stop you. I have to stop you. Nick Scarpino from kindoffunny.com.
I just want to put a counterpoint to Tim slandering our guest here online and not dialing that back until all of us started talking. Gerard, very nice guy, very great guest. Had a great time with him.
Sure.
He did, however, he has not, as far as I know, gone cross country for his audience and for his fans and risked life and limb for them. So
that's not all they risked. What I hear.
When I say limb, Tim, I'm Greg from Kind of Funny.
I do want to point out too that Gerard still hasn't introduced me to Jamie Lee Curtis, so he was all talk on the show. Just a heads up about it, you know what I mean? But I'm right here, no closer to meeting Miss Halloween herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. But no,
completely robbed Lori, but that's okay. Maybe someday.
Jokes aside, though, I freaking love Shaun Bolen. I've loved Shaun Bolen for years. We've had him on the Kind of Funny Games cast. We've had him on too many Twitch streams to count. But recently, I got to hang out with him when he made a little stop in San Francisco because of this crazy sub drive that he was doing. That I'm sure is going to be the main topic of the show because I want to hear all your crazy stories and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted on the record that I love Shaun Bolen.
I think you're beautiful. You look like a sidekick in the next Infamous game. With your beanie.
You'll do it. Beanie will do it.
I didn't know your hair looked that amazing.
Where are we putting? Where are we setting Infamous 3 right now, Sean?
You know what? I would Los Angeles, not New York. I'm so sick of games taking place in New York. Los Angeles.
Of course.
We need a sunny Los Angeles. I loved how the division was like, this one's wintertime. And whenever we were playing the first division, I was like, man, if they could just put the second one like in a sun-kissed, bright with the clothing options, and they put in DC.
Tampa Bay.
They did it.
Tampa Bay.
So basically, you want
the iconic city of Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, another famous Tampa Bay monument, like the Buccaneers Stadium.
Yep.
One of the worst beaches.
The Manta Rays. They got a baseball team. The Rays. They just the Rays. Is that right?
Ray Romano.
Is it?
Deborah.
Are we? See, here's the thing, though. Here's my counterpoint for you, Sean, on that one. Is that I get weird, uncomfortable anxiety when I think about a bunch of big, sweaty dudes running around in Kevlar in the sun of LA. There's a lot of chafing that's going to happen.
It's not that hot in LA. Like Florida, that would be.
Well,
that
Florida's
would be
swampy, so at least and you're going to get the diaper rash, right? So you're going to have to put Desitine all over everywhere. That's what I'm just saying, man. Like, there's something to be said for running around fighting a war in the cold.
You should do like thigh lubricant instead of armor plates. Like, just rip their fucking pants off.
You open up the case and it's just a thing of Vaseline. And you're like, mine. I need that. I need the Vaseline.
Exactly.
Somebody drop me some Vass.
Lather
me some Vass. We need a ping system for this.
Drop me sure. Let me ping the petroleum jelly, Greg.
I'll grease you up. Don't worry. I'll make sure there's no chafing.
I
understand what's out there. I thought about that too, though, in DC. I spent a summer in DC. Humid as hell over there. Tell me I'm strapping on all these M64s and I'm going out there and shooting? No way.
No way. M64.
You know, my favorite gun, the M64.
Yeah, the M64.
You know what I mean?
Like a firecracker.
The fun machine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so we did do a cross country trip. You guys were passively a bigger part of that than you think. Snowbike was a huge part of it. He was real highlight of the trip. So,
well, no. I need you don't get to jump to that because I need to hear about it from the start because I know a little bit about the sub drive. I of course watched some of the sub drive. I of course saw you out there having fun and having crazy shenanigans and then getting extremely sick and going to 2 separate ERs and all that stuff. We're going to talk about all that and more because this is the Kind of Funny podcast. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table, each coming to bullshit with each other about whatever it is they want to bullshit about. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindafunny. Over on patreon.com/kindafunny, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get your name read as a producer. You can get the show ad free. You can get the show with the exclusive post show we do each and every week. Of course, we do it twice a week. And of course, you could be watching live on patreon.com/kindafunny as we record it, just like Lexi G is, the Lou is, and Mike LR. If you have no bucks to toss our way, though, and can't go to patreon.com/kindafunny to help out and support us, no big deal. We put each and every episode up on youtube.com/kindafunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services where, Tim?
Round the globe.
Of course, you can get them there. There are ads. There isn't a post show. And man, it's like you're stealing content from Nick, but it's okay. We don't mind. It's fine. Do what you got to do.
Here's what happened there. I went over to the shelf. I looked. Nothing on the shelf. Nothing on the shelf.
It was a pregnant pause. It was a shorter pregnant pause than usual. Some housekeeping before we get into Bolen's asshole, because he said he was going to talk a lot about his asshole this episode. The Blessing Show is back right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching later, not if you're live on Patreon. The Blessing Show is back over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames for a special titled Returnal and Hades Are Changing Gaming. You can go over there for another amazing Blessing Show. Please go support it. It's one of the few shows we do that is YouTube only and not a podcast. So it'd mean a lot to us if you went and watched it, because let me tell you, we hired Blessing and he is just not paying off, right, Tim?
Exactly. I've been saying it every day of my life, and I've never said it more than this day right here, right now.
His future is in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. It's like the Big Lebowski. Mr. Lebowski asked me to repeat that. His life is in your hands.
I hope that Snowbike Mike is also not paying off, because I would love to hire both of them.
You can't have him. You can't have him.
You can't have either of them. This is just a method. This is just a method to get people to watch it. What they're doing, they're both doing very well. They're both paying off.
No. Oh, you were being sorry. Oh, I
can't. This is facetious.
I'll
this
be
is
honest
reverse
with you.
Psychology. You know what I mean?
Blessing and I housed Bruce Green and Snowbike Mike in the Olympics, that terrible Olympics game that came out. So Blessing's not going anywhere either, because he's a winner.
Sure. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Steve Powers. Today we're brought to you by MeUndies, Faraday, and Upstart. But I'll tell you about that later. For now, Shaun Bolen, what the fuck is wrong with you? You woke up one day, you went on Twitch, and you're like, you know what? If we get subs, we'll drive across the fucking country.
So we did this thing called March to the Top, which you guys were a part of as well, where we were like, hey, I was laying in bed one night, and I was like, how many subs do we have? I was like, oh, well, we have like 200 or 300 people. I think we have like 130 people watching right now. But we have like this really psycho audience, right? And I was like, how many subs we got? I was like, oh, we have like 3,000 subs less than Ninja. And I was like, we could get more subs than Ninja. And then I was just like, oh, well, maybe we could get more subs than everybody. So we did this thing, March to the Top, and that was like awesome. We got to number 8 in all of Twitch. We passed Tim the Tap Man, but nobody likes to talk about that. so that kind of mindset, I was like, well, how can we get bigger? And I've always wanted to do a road trip stream. It started off like I want to do a hitchhiker stream where the chat, it manifests, but then you think about it, and it's like,
The amount of ideas I've pitched to Tim and Nick that mid-sentence, I'm like, wait, this is bad. We go to jail for this.
Remember that time, Greg, you wanted to let us hunt you across all of San Francisco?
Oh, that'd be
great. Like the movie Hard Target.
Yeah, we've done a stream like that where you have to find somebody in a city. I could help you with that. That'd be so sick.
Yeah,
no, don't help them. Help me hide. Don't help them find me.
It's the Greg. That's what they call it. The Greg.
There's still a subreddit. There's still a channel on our Slack about it, right?
I know. There's 400 channels on our Slack about stuff like that. So it's to the point where I have to dig through all of our individual conversations to find the shit that I need to be paying attention to. But
Kevin, I'm leaving Operation Dumbo Drop. I don't need to be in that channel anymore.
Well, let's burn that channel. Can you delete it?
What do you? What is Dumbo? Y'all go find an elephant or something?
We don't want to talk about it.
Okay, we won't talk about it. Anyway, so obviously,
bring it up on the podcast. Then?
I don't know. Obviously, during March, like Ludwig had his big thing, and I was like, I want to do something like that, but where we travel. And I was like,
so wait, full stop already, Mr. Bolen. We know you. We love you. We work with you all the time. There's definitely people listening to this podcast who don't know you. So you obviously are on GameAttack. You obviously play video games. They can get that from the name. But I think what's interesting is, and not knowing when last time somebody touched base with GameAttack, right, is that you are a pure Twitch entity now, right? That's the business.
Yeah, like our YouTube is dead. Like we killed it with Mario Party. Like if we don't post Mario Party, nobody sees it on YouTube, doesn't get served. We've cycled 8 different hosts and all this shit. Like we're only on Twitch. You guys are big inspiration for us. Like we left the Rooster Teeth family to go indie, kind of following suit with you guys a long time ago. But so you guys, how you guys like set Patreon goals, right? And you guys kind of do a big refresher. We do that, but it's way more terrifying because we do it we do like daily goals that serve our business and our payroll, and we're building a new office space, and we're going to beat you guys in time. But we're building a warehouse and streaming.
I would bet on you on that one.
Yeah. But we're building out an office space too, and we're funded by our community, like just like you guys are, 100% indie. But it's all Twitch. I think we make like $200 on YouTube a month from people still watching old Mario.
$200 on YouTube. Lucky.
Yeah, imagine.
Impressive. It's huge.
But yeah, if you guys have seen Kind of Funny, like they have a model. It's a lot like ours with you fill the bar, you extend time, and we are constantly looking for ways to have event streams that are wild and crazy and big. One time we played Persona 5 for 128 hours straight, and we've done just if you have an idea for a stream, we've probably thought about it or done it or stolen it from Bruce Green.
Yeah, we do. We steal from Bruce a lot.
We steal from Bruce all the time. Don't worry
about it. Steal from you guys all the time too.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, this is anybody that says anybody has stolen content is totally full of shit on the internet. It's like
I think that is very
I like
true
to use
for
the term,
majority.
and we inspire each other.
Absolutely. I mean, the truth of the matter is, we are. How many phone calls have we had, Bolen, behind the scenes, like talking through everything, like learning from each other, and like all that shit. It's awesome, man. What I love about what you guys are doing is you are so big on trying to take the medium of Twitch streaming and be like, okay, cool. There's all these like little mechanisms and levers that we can pull to be able to fund and continue doing what we're doing. How can we take those rules but play with them in a way no one else has? Or if someone else has done it before, like how do we do something that is like for our audience that they will understand and really kind of get behind? And everything you just talked about, like the Persona stream, I thought was a great example where, your team is only 4 people at this point?
4 and 5 with Chelsea, who's my wife, and she runs the business.
Question. So we're doing 160-hour streams. That's just you guys. Go for it.
And that's my question is coming in here right now. The one thing I obviously love GameAttack. I obviously love looking at what you guys are doing. You're always doing something crazy. You're always up to some shenanigans. You're always doing something like driving across country, playing Persona for 120 hours. Was your wife's involvement in the business a necessity so she could see you? I think about how much I work already, how much Tim works, how much Nick works. It goes on that way. But as founders and as frontmen of the company, I still feel like I'm not giving Jen enough attention. Let alone the fact if I turn to her, I'm like, well, playing Persona 120 hours this week, and kind of the whole business relies on people actually subbing. So you understand, right?
Yeah. No, it was like there is like an understanding between me and Chelsea. It's like, hey, everything we're doing now is so whenever we're 40, there's a tiny like 1% chance we may get to see each other for the rest of our lives, like nonstop, right? And that's the dream, right? It's just like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be on the road for 3 straight weeks, but maybe it'll lead to something. Maybe somebody on Twitch will see it. Maybe Ford will see it and want us to drive the Bronco across the country someday or some shit like that, right? But Chelsea coming on the business was whenever I took over as owner, like we needed to get organized. Like, and Chelsea has managed banks and staffs way bigger than 5 people. So she has like the business and numbers savvy. Like she's gotten us health insurance and manages payroll and understands what kind of
Nick. Okay.
Yeah.
She's the Nick. She's the Nick. Can you believe that, Bolen, that Nick is our that?
What?
Does that scare you?
It's weird. I know. It doesn't, there's not a lot of, it doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but
Nick,
what's up?
You have the attitude and pessimism and self-deprecation that would make me think you were in charge of numbers.
Yeah, it comes from insecurity and paranoia, and so
fear.
A lot of that and fear. I mean, yeah, that's exactly. It's basically like when I always tell the story when we left, everyone had filled different parts, and that's the great thing about having partners. They can actually kind of fill in those knowledge gaps and or those things that they're passionate about that I'm not. But one of the things that I was like, I want to leave and I want to make sure we at least have healthcare and we're not going to get put in jail for tax evasion. Those are the 2 big things for me that I was like, they're never going to get us for tax evasion, guys. Like they got Al Capone.
Yeah,
we're going to pay these taxes.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but I mean, that's the stuff that I like. I enjoy kind of just making sure that the nuts and bolts of the business run and that we're paying bills and invoices are getting paid on time and stuff like that. Because when we were at IGN, and I'm sure you guys kind of had familiarities with this other stuff, there's always like so many cogs to get stuff done. And I'm like, it's kind of cool that we could just do shit.
Yeah.
I can just pay an invoice if I need to, like someone that worked for us, it's cool.
Exactly. I think that's attributed to like the road trip and stuff as well, is that like, I can tell you right now, it would have taken, I think it's like 8 or 9 green lights to have gotten approval to do something like that.
Oh, God, and that would have been a huge
thing. But here it's just like, we just say to our audience, it's like, can we do this? And our audience is like, yeah, go for it. I don't give a shit. And then we do it. And again,
like we're taking on none of the liability on this and getting all of the entertainment enjoyment value out of it. So go for it. But that is true though. Like you don't have to think about, like, if this had happened at, if we were a part of IGN, it would have had to go so far up the flagpole. Yeah. And then someone would have been like, wait on that, because we're going to try to get that sponsored. And then 5 years later, we'd be drinking. Be like, remember we had that crazy idea to go across country and it never happened?
Well, there's an irony to that too. And we've talked about this before on the show, so I don't want to go too long on it. But like, it's funny that every single, like we were all at IGN for many years. We've worked with Rooster Teeth. We worked with like a bunch of different big companies over time. And every single time a big sponsor comes in, it doesn't matter what the sponsor is, whether it's Slim Jims
road trip
or cars. Everyone's big picture idea is always a road trip. We're going to get our hosts and they're going to drive from this place to that place. Yeah. And there's going to be a meet and greet. There's going to be a this, there's going to be a that. It never, ever happens because it's like that content isn't good enough. Like just what is the content there? A fancy person goes around with a camera and like films some things and it gets edited down to a 5-minute piece of content that is just essentially people like driving for a little bit and like doesn't mean shit. That's not content. But what you guys did is turned that dream into a reality and actually made it content for the people where you're just live the whole time. You're just hanging out with the chat. The chat's keeping you going. Like that, you cracked the code of it all. You just didn't do the part where you got the big sponsor money. So
exactly,
we should work on that for next time. Slim Jim.
I have
like it's always Slim Jim or Mountain Dew.
I'll say it right here on the podcast. If you guys have sponsors that you just don't have time for, like I got like a 50% conversion rate over here, guys. If you just want to toss me some help or contacts, I would love that more than anything.
I'm going to tell you one thing right now about Tim Geddes. Tim makes time for all the sponsors. There's no such thing as a sponsor we don't have time for.
The dream, The dream is to.
Anytime you're in Lake Tahoe, let me tell you about Tom's Plumbing, our sponsor today.
Hell yeah. I mean, realistically and ultimately, the dream for any creator is to do what they do and never take a dime of support from their audience, right? That's my dream, at least. I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but like,
I want to move in with people in our audience. I would like just eat their food. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it's just like, but we're not there yet. I will happily be supported by our audience if they will. I tell our audience all the time that like GameAttack is a business based on hope. Like we're just gonna make this and hope that you guys want to pay for it. And that's and that's kind of like the thing with the content we make is the road trip was an idea where it was like that is so big and so epic. Like I think this sounds appropriate, but like they have to fund that. Like they have to get behind that, Well,
like, this I think speaks to Tim's point, right? What is so special about a GameAttack, a kind of funny compared to an IGN or Rooster Teeth, where the big idea is always a road trip, and then the other people are like, so what is it's gonna be 6 hours of driving and talk? Who would want to watch that? Whereas and they're talking for a mainstream audience at a big site, right? When you get here, it is that thing of like, people love our 24 or 12 hour, and they love the old 24-hour Extra Life and anniversary streams, right? Anniversaries. Now, of course, they're going to love you driving or, doing this crazy thing, and let alone the chance that some of them get to meet you that way.
Yeah.
Well, dude, Bolen, like, I think that just to give even more context to the audience that might not know you, is like one of the things that I think is so cool, and we always talk about this, just like Greg was saying, is that GameAttack and Kind of Funny are very, very similar. The type of content we make, the type of people we are, and the type of audience we're trying to foster, and the type of audience that we have that kind of allow us to do all these crazy things. And it kind of works both ways, where it's like they want us to do crazy stuff, we want to do crazy stuff, and it's like we'll do the crazy stuff if it just kind of like keeps going in a circle there. But your idea for March to the Top, you guys were doing so many dope things like crazy streams, the persona and all that, but like March to the Top, you said that you were trying to be the #1 most subbed group. For context, GameAttack is very small. Like you guys have how many concurrent viewers normally?
Yeah, like 2. I have a number for you, right? We were the 8th most at the end of March to the Top. We got to number 8. We had the people, the 7th and the 9th spot had like 10 million Twitch followers. 5 to 10 million Twitch followers. We have 32,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like that's the numbers I'm talking about, man. It's like when you take that, it's like it doesn't matter if you have 10 million, 32 million, if you have the dedicated 2,000 people that are going to rock with you. And that's how we've always operated. And luckily that number's kind of grown a little bit, where it's went from 2,000 to 10,000 or whatever it is. But our ideas have grown, and our team has grown, and the things that we're doing have grown. And you're doing that exact same thing. So it's like when you did that and got to be number 8th most subscribed Twitch channel,
bonkers.
Like the context of that is freaking insane. The scale is just unreal. But then for you to be like, okay, what do we do next? And your idea to be this sub drive, which give the full pitch on what that was.
So the sub drive was we don't have any events planned. COVID. We are big believers in masking up, vaxxing, taking care of yourselves. We all got double vaxxed. We were like, cool. Things were chilling out. It was laxed. Everything was open. So we're like, okay, let's go see people. And it was like, what's the cost? Well, we can gas, hotels, good food experiences, and let's do a lap around the country. At first, whenever I came up with the idea, it was like, okay, let's roll a dice and then just allocate that dice to a cardinal direction and just start driving. Mm-hmm. But after that, it was like, well, coverage is spotty. So the idea of the sub drive was for us to lap the entire country, see as many creator friends and audience members as possible, and stream the entire thing. And how it worked was every time we got new subs or bits, it added to our mileage. The more we drove, the more our odometer went up, we lost mileage. So our audience had to fight our odometer with support to keep us going further. So whenever we get to El Paso, people in Phoenix are just like, come on, we got to get them to Phoenix. And they would support, right? And, we had people in the Northeast that were from the beginning. We had Derek Boolander, big supporter of the channel, amazing G1. He was just like, he would be like, here's 100 subs. We have to get them to Pennsylvania, right? So our route was this. It was Dallas to Austin, Austin to El Paso, to Phoenix, to LA to see Bruce Green, right?
We know.
To San Francisco to see Kind of Funny. And ultimately, the big goal was to get to Tahoe, because Tahoe's a bucket list thing. I've always wanted to see the water. I wanted to see Snowbike Mike in person. After Tahoe, it was to Salt Lake City, to Denver, to Omaha, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, to New York City. Then we swung down to DC, then Florida, then back across to Texas. It was 7,500 miles. And I will be honest, it didn't, you look at something like that and it's like, man, they're going to make so much money. But it was more of a community builder than it was a like, oh man, what a great month. It was a fine month, but it was, once we got to New York, it was like, man, this is so much more than like trying to make a lot of money on stream. And I thought I would see like one person at every stop, but we saw every G1 that just said, hey, I'm here in the chat. We would be like, cool, we'll meet you on the side of the highway at this Jack in the Box. And we'd pull over, and we got him to sign this map. I don't know if Chelsea's watching or whatever, but we have a map that we signed. I think we had 170 people sign it.
Kevin, if you check assets, I sent you the promo video. Or actually sent it to you directly. I sent the promo video, and I will now also send the map, so you have them both there.
Okay. But we were doing meetup, and another thing I didn't see, because I was like, I'm gonna buy food for every G1, like whenever we get there. Yeah. So there's all of our stops until about up until Washington DC, right? So went to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach sucked, man. That's probably the worst place. Myrtle Beach is the worst location in the country.
Oh my God.
What a shithole. My mom, all her life, it's like, oh, I'm going to go to Myrtle Beach. Kevin, I also have a video that there you go. There's the map. Those are all signatures from everyone we met around the country, and actually traced our, there you go. Yeah, that's awesome. But Myrtle Beach, man, all my life. There you go.
Signed it.
All my life, my mom's like, I would love to go to Myrtle Beach. No, not Six Flags, Myrtle Beach. My mom's like, we got to go to Myrtle Beach someday. It'd be such a wonderful vacation. So in my head, I think Myrtle Beach looks like, I had it in my head. Get there, like, dude, the water was gross. The sand was all shelly and horrible to walk in. I go into a restaurant and I was like, hey, how long for a wait? This kid at Myrtle Beach looks at the piece of paper. He just does this.
I hate this.
He does this.
I hate him.
This is how long he takes. He goes, it's going to be about 2.5 hours wait. Oh my God, this rat fuck. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can cut.
Yeah, you can cuss. Well, why is he a bad person?
Because he was doing it because he was doing
it for dramatic effect.
Yeah, he was doing it like, clearly you don't see. Myrtle Beach does not look like that. No, that's a lie.
The internet says. This is what the internet says.
No. You want to go to Florida? Go to Florida for the beach. To go to Florida. But yeah. So I thought we would see a couple of people, but at the meetups,
wait. Serious question. Did you go to the wrong Myrtle Beach?
No, that's the one I went to. I remember it.
Well, no, because this is the South Carolina Myrtle Beach, which is seemingly beautiful.
It looked like that. Trust me. I know this, Kevin. Don't fuck with me.
Don't let Kevin get in your head. This is what he does. These are the games he plays.
You got it.
He is a rat fuck if I ever met one.
But whenever we're meeting people, it was cool, and this is why I invited myself onto the show, is because we had a lot of best friends meet us.
You did.
Like in Denver, Suppets Fran. We had it was crazy. People were like, oh, so it's kind of funny. He was talking about you. That's so sweet. But like, I ended up buying food for everybody on the trip, and that was like a cost that I just did not see coming.
It's one of those
I'm not really netting out on these Twitch subs. This is not going the way I thought it was going to go.
It reminds me a lot of when, like,
we told you not to pay for our food. We made that very clear. We were like, don't do that.
You guys should have paid for his food. It reminds me a lot of when you hear stories of like stand-up comics that they'll go on the road, quote unquote, and they'll make like $400 at a club, but the flight to get there was $380. And so they end up coming back after food and drinking like $300 in the hole.
Yeah. Amateur professional wrestlers do that all the time too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We definitely weren't in the hole. But it was
okay, good.
Yeah. Obviously not. I mean, you got Chelsea there. She's probably like, no. She'd probably just say no.
See, there's like Juarez and El Paso, which was crazy. And
I mean, what a cool thing you guys got to do. But I mean, imagine on day like 7, you were like, fucking, this is a lot of driving.
Yeah. There's a continental divide right there. And oh my God. And then so what we did was every time we lost signal, we just toggled to Wes in the studio. We sent our signal to our studio in Dallas. So anytime we lost signal or got buffering, we just toggled instantly to Wes instead of having to restart the stream. And that was like the secret weapon. Like once like we figured that logistic out, it was like, this can happen. This is
basically, I mean, if this had been us, we'd have been like, Kevin, you're going to stay home. We're going to give you the signal and it's going to be great. So anytime we quote unquote lose signal, Kevin, you have to be on camera. And then I would have orchestrated it so that we lose signal for 17 hours.
Would have just created a YouTube playlist with KF podcast in there and just switched over to that.
No, but instead, they didn't do that. Wes was actually there playing. For a while, he was playing the crew 2, right? Doing a cross country road trip with you guys.
Yeah, he played Forza and Need for Speed Heat and all this stuff. There's San Fran. Let's look at that.
Yeah.
We went to these food trucks and stuff with G1s, and oh my God, Snowbike was unbelievable. Look at this Tahoe footage right here. This was streamed. This was streamed right here.
Yeah, and one of you almost died on this, right? He keeps talking about how one of you almost fell off a mountain and died.
Yeah, Grayson fell off of... I'll tell you about it after this. Okay, so we're up on this cliff, right? Overlooking Tahoe. We get to Snowbike, and Snowbike is like, all right, we're going to hang out for a little bit, and then we're going to climb that 100-foot rock face for the greatest view in Tahoe. And I'm like, okay.
I don't want to do that.
And so we climb this rock face.
Like, my first question would be like, is there a road that we could drive up that's like around the rock that I could just drive up?
No, it was like a small hike to this rock face.
This is, by the way, this is
Mike refused to see you in Tahoe.
Exactly. This is what happens to me every time I go to Tahoe. People in Tahoe are way too outdoorsy. I had one time I went and my friend was like, hey, we're going to get breakfast burritos and then we're going to backcountry hike up and ski down a hill. And I was like, that sounds great. It was 4 foot of fucking snow deep. I almost threw up so many times. I was like, this is the worst thing ever. Sorry, continue.
No, real quick, Bolen, something I want to bring up is because we just watched the video kind of chronologically and like we skipped past the SF stuff. So we hung out for a while. It was fucking awesome having dinner and stuff. But something I was so interested in is the conversation we were having in San Francisco was, okay, we definitely have enough to make it to Tahoe. We're going to get there. If we push, we might be able to make it to Salt Lake City. And you're just like, then maybe Colorado, but then we'll probably end up heading back after that. Like you'd be like, it's crazy if we can make it to New York. And here you freaking are. You did the whole damn thing.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I guess I'm scatterbrained, but we wanted to go west first because the signal is the worst in Arizona and New Mexico, right? And we were like, okay, signal's bad, but if we can say, hey, we're going to get to Bruce Green and Kind of Funny and Snowbike, our audience will want to push us through that horrible reception, right? Because we had like no disconnects once we got to the East Coast. But so I figured momentum would die between Salt Lake and Chicago because it's a big stretch. Most of our collabs are done because everybody's on the West Coast. And we're driving through desert, salt flats, Nebraska, like cornfields and shit. There's no interesting things to do except for sit on the road. So surely the momentum would die out there. We actually had a sponsor save the whole trip. We had a G1 who has the Beardly Man who has beard product, and we've used it before. And I said, hey, we got to Salt Lake City, and I was like, hey,
we're dying out here.
We're dying. Like you kind of gauge like March to the Top. It's like, man, our audience is capable of getting us 32,000 subs. That would get us like 2 laps across the country, right? So like what I didn't know prepping the stream was how urgent it would be, right? And just it was like, there were some stretches where we needed we had like 500 miles ahead of us. So we would need like 500 to like 1,000 subs to cover it. And I was thinking, yeah, it's like 60 miles an hour. No, motherfucker, like New Mexico speed limit's like 90, you know? So like you're not burning a mile every minute. You're burning a mile like every 30 to 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. And so the urgency just wasn't there. And so when we got to Salt Lake City, I was like, cool. Because and I didn't want to put pressure on like somebody to like donate big, right? You guys know, like support comes when a lot of people give a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of dying off because the urgency was just like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and that I guess that was kind of an oversight. But so Beardly Man was like, "I'll sponsor you guys to Salt Lake City or to Denver," and that day the G1s had another like 5-hour drive where everything was banked into the tank and we weren't losing any miles, and that got us to Chicago. And I knew once we got to Chicago, seeing Chef Mike and going to Portillo's and you know, Chicago deep dish pizza places and Galloping Ghost Arcade, the biggest arcade in the country. I knew that once we got to the East Coast, the stops are so much more frequent. You know, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Jersey, New York, like instead of Denver, Salt Lake, you know, those big stretches. And that really gave us some momentum to finish the trip. It was wild. So we met with Snowbike in Tahoe after you guys, and me and Grayson, who was on the road trip with me, like Snowbike grabbed us by the hand and just yanked us around.
Yeah,
it's fucking terrifying. Tahoe.
That's what's terrifying. It's exciting.
I've never seen anybody love a city as much as Snowbike loves Tahoe, and we talked a little bit about like, man, like, are you okay? I was kind of like, are you okay leaving here? Because like, you seem to like really love it. And he was like, man, I got to tell you, you got a guy who believes in you guys so much with Snowbike. I hope you guys know Snowbike believes in you so hard. I've had many
a conversation with him too when we're doing our nightly streams, just hanging, chillaxing. And he's like, you know, this, and this. I was like, man, you're really well set up there. Are you sure you want to come down here? And he's like, Nick, you're not supposed to be asking me that question, Nick. No, yeah. He's 100%. He understands. He's ready for the new adventure. But that's why I'm so hesitant to hit Mike up anytime I'm in Tahoe, because I don't know if I'm ready for that energy output. Dude, it is like, here's what happened. I went up to visit some family up in Tahoe, and I was like, Mikey, I might hit you up. We'll see what happens, right? And he was like, dog, don't even worry about it, man. You hit me up, you say the word, I'll be at your house at 6 a.m. We'll be on jet skis by 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, let's dial that back to like a 41-year-old energy. What can I get at like starting around noon to like a 1:30 activity? Is there a Starbucks that we could go to? We could splash water in each other's faces. Is that going to be happening? He's like, we'll scale it to whatever you want to do, dog. But
this is among the worst impressions I've ever heard you.
You know what's funny? It's actually
you want to ride a jet ski, dog? We can ride a jet ski.
It's like my old New Jersey Italian.
Yeah.
And that's all I have. Well, because to get the true Snowbike Mike, you have to be able to scream a little bit.
Sure.
You know, like if you want to do Andy, like here, Andy got to go, whoa. You know, Andy's got to, whoa. You know, Andy has that little like you stepped on a Pomeranian and it just like barked at you.
You're making the wrong noise so much.
I
get what he's going. I get what he's
doing.
Does
that. Andy always, when you see,
you're closer to it now.
Where Andy gets scared at something and he yelps like a small lapdog.
He's yelpy.
Yeah, he's very yelpy. Mike, on the other hand, is very much like I used to sound when I was the tail end of my bar hopping experiences, like Sunday after you went out, Friday, Saturday, and there may or may not have been an entire carton of Marlboro Lights that I smoked. But I'm still just juiced from the weekend. Does that mean not that Mike doesn't smoke, but you know what I mean? He's got that like gravelly voice. Dog, what do you get? You know, I'm trying to get
gravel's a good word because it's not raspy, but there's a gravelly.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And then when he gets tired, he goes, all right, bro.
Oh yeah.
All right, bro.
No,
that's accurate.
That's what we're gonna do, bro. We're gonna play some Apex Arenas. You, me, bro. It's gonna be good. Now, I just went somewhere else with that.
You're fine. Mike tours us. Mike tours us through his entire MC history. I did like you look at Mike and you're like, oh, this guy's just a naturally talented speaker. It's like, okay, he just has presence. Period. Hell no. Mike takes us a tour about MCing at. He took us to 3 different casinos that he used to MC. public events. He used to work the chairlift here, you know, and
he owns that town.
Dude, Mike missed his calling as one of the boat drivers in the Jungle Cruise ride.
Exactly.
It would have been amazing as that. Yeah. And he blew my mind the other day, right? And obviously, like I don't know that much about Mike. We haven't actually like hung. So I'm learning stuff as we've been working with him all year. But I thought in my brain, I'm like, there's no possible way he wasn't the best strip club MC.
Yeah, casino. No, slots MC.
But he was like, I've never even been in a strip club. And I'm like, you missed your calling. So you could have been the best. You could have been the Magic Mike of the strip clubs MCs. And he's like, nah, man, I've just never done it. Exactly.
But if you roll that mentality over to elderly folks at bingo night in a casino.
Yeah.
And you know, imagine.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
But it was funny. Like we went to get in line for like one of these restaurants. Grayson, who's our another host, my best friend, who kind of like my Kevin Tim. He's 6'9".
6'9", guys.
Yeah,
it's too tall.
And I met him, and I embraced him, and that's not the right way to say that. He embraced me, and I was this small little child.
I wanted to take his knees as soon as I saw him.
Yeah. He is a beacon for drunk people. A beacon, you know. Because and like let me tell you,
huge man.
Yeah, but so we're in line for this restaurant. I don't know if Mike was on that mentality, but Grayson used to be a cop. He quit to be an online entertainer. Best decision he ever made. I'm a big guy. Grayson's huge. Mike is not a small guy either. But we're sitting out in line for this restaurant. It's packed. Everybody's drunk. I have the gimbal. So I'm a beacon as well. One lady walked up to me and she was like, "Is that a gimbal?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You should get one. They're really cheap." And she goes, "I'm not as important as you though."
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you fucking. Anyways, so we're sitting outside this restaurant and this big guy comes out. He's not like huge, but it's like that's the kind of body that like would hurt if he hit me in the face. Mm-hmm. He walks up to Grayson. He's like, "Damn, motherfucker, how tall are you?" And Grayson's like, "I'm 6'9". And he's like, "You're big." And he looks at me and he goes, "You're kind of big too." And I was like, "Oh shit, here we go. Here we go." Now? And so like I put my gimbal in the tomahawk mode. I've just got it. I've just got it right here, right?
I don't want to kill you, but I will.
Live on stream.
No, we weren't live. We didn't record this because I didn't, like we had drunk people in Tahoe. Like we had like mad Karens come up to us and be like, "Y'all are from Texas?" Oh, they'd say like terrible things that are just like horrible. Right? Yeah, like really shitty people up in Tahoe besides Snowbike Mike. So this guy's like,
no Myrtle Beach, but it's not great.
yeah. So like, it's funny because it's like I kind of look at Mike, like I'm like, hey, get ready to headbutt this guy, while he's talking to Grayson, and I'm looking at Grayson. And Grayson's like,
it's about to pop off.
Yeah, this is gonna be terrible. And like he gets in this awkward mode, and we're just like so nice to him, okay. And then he backs off. But it was pretty cool. The bouncer at the restaurant would have had.
See, here's how I thought that story was going to end. Because the thing about Snowbike Mike is he knows everyone in Tahoe. Mm-hmm. And all of them have weird names. He doesn't just know a Sam or a Pete. He's got Pirate Pete and like Smoky Sam or whatever it is. So I thought he was going to be like, I thought Mike was going to come out of whatever restaurant you were in, see these guys and be like, "Yo, what up, Nightcrawler?" Gino, whatever the fuck the guy's name is, and then they were gonna hang out with each other. Again, Greg went over to the fucking shelf. Nothing on it.
Gino.
That's a great name.
Yeah, but Gino's not. Gino's not, right? We can agree.
Nightcrawler Ned. There's got to be rhyming to it. The rhyming convention. So it had to be Nightcrawler Ned, but Gino came out. I don't know why. I'm still stuck in that Jersey accent.
You're fine. But yeah, Mike did know everybody, and I think. I want to tell you about this just so you guys can appreciate what you do for people.
Okay.
But when I got my job in the industry, I remember I had 2 days to move, and I walked into the restaurant I was working at, and I said, "Hey, tonight's my last night." But it was like I knew in my head, I was like, tonight's my last night because my dream just came true. I'm out of here. I've been serving for 10 years, and now it's time for me to go do exactly what I'm doing in my life. This was off camera for the most part, but you guys know Mike knows everybody. I got to watch and listen to him have that conversation with about a dozen people.
Really?
We went up to the mountain, and people hadn't seen him since COVID. And when we were touring the mountain with chairlifts and like cool sledding stuff and like ropes courses and stuff, we went up to the top of Tahoe basically, and he goes to the medic station and he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah, I got this awesome job in San Fran with a wonderful group of guys. Like hearing, like I almost cried once because it was like, it was so amazing because everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's so great to see you, Mikey!" And Mike's like, "What's up, Babaluga?" You know, and then he goes up.
Gino, you ever met Babaluga?
Yeah. And he's like, they're like, "How you been?" And Mike's like, and then you get to hear Mike talk about the past year and what it means for him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to San Fran. I'm out of here." And they're like, "What? That's crazy. That's awesome." But that like hearing Mike and him lugging us around, that might have been the best fun I had on the stream.
So wait, one real quick, because we keep throwing different questions at you that then deviate the stories, and I love it. That you're doing great. You're killing it.
Okay.
But how did Grayson almost die? Like it was just you said it. Like, there's this tall thing over here. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like I've only heard this like weird thing of Mike's like, one of them almost died. I was like, what are you talking about?
So Grayson is 6'9". Like he is strong. He is big. Like, but he also has giant feet and big legs, and he is a big guy.
That's why I've always said I don't want to be taller because of the feet problem. Having bigger feet.
You have always been very vocal about that.
Very
like you gotta consider the weight that Grayson is slinging around. He's a
I still
big
have
guy.
that. I still have the weight. I just don't have the height of the feet.
So we climb this it's like 100 feet up to this outcrop, no railings or anything, just so we can see the sunset. Grayson's terrified of heights, but he goes up there. Grayson is scared of water, scared of heights. He used to be a cop. He plays by the rules. I put Grayson in so many uncomfortable situations. Anyways, so we get up there. View's great. It's wonderful. I'm going out on rocks, taking pretty pictures and stuff. Grayson is like appreciating the view. It's time to go down. Grayson plants his leg, and he plants it like between two rocks. It gets stuck. And this is, I mean, so there's steps.
Mike almost killed Grayson, basically.
Yeah, there's steps and easy rocks to climb, but like, let's say if you just jumped out away from the wall, it was steep enough to where you would die. And so he steps, and he just like, Grayson just starts to fall. I see him try to catch himself, and then he's just like, whatever happens, happens now. And he just kind of slowly falls over on like the edge of like a 6-foot drop off, and he just lays right there. He almost died. Mike almost killed him. Like he really did.
Fair enough. This is why I refuse to go out anywhere other than the Starbucks with Mike. I'm terrified. He wants to do water sports with me. I feel like I don't want to see what the bottom of Lake Tahoe looks like. I don't need it.
I mean,
I want to go on a jet ski so bad. I always have. I'm so jealous.
You've never been on a jet ski?
No,
Tim,
I've never even been near a jet ski.
Let's go to Tahoe and let's get on jet skis. Come on. You say the word. You say the word. Next weekend. Let's do it.
Tim, it's as fun as you think it's going to be.
It is.
It is.
Truly as fun. It's very easy. You only have to know a very limited amount to make sure you don't kill yourself on this thing. And if you smoke cigarettes, it's awesome because you can just light up a cigarette, have it hang out of your mouth, wear some cool sunglasses, and just let the fucking wind hit your face.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Also,
and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of something else that's beautiful. It's patreon.com/kindafunny that, of course, makes the show go. It keeps the lights and the mics on. You can go there right now to be part of future episodes of the Kinda Funny podcast. You can go there right now so you could get the show ad-free. You can get the exclusive post show we do. And, of course, you could get a bevy of other benefits for all the other Kinda Funny programs. But for right now, let's focus in on that thing where I said you'd get the show ad-free. And since you're not watching it on patreon.com/kindafunny, here are some ads.
This show is brought to you by MeUndies. You know how when you're in a nerve-wracking situation and people say, imagine everyone in their underwear to make yourself feel comfortable. As if imagining a room full of strangers down to their skivvies is what makes us feel comfy. MeUndies believes comfort does not start with imagining, but instead it starts with actual comfort. MeUndies designs limited edition prints all the time so you can express yourself every single day. Building your undie collection and picking out which lucky pair gets to meet your butt for the day has never been so fun. Choose prints with corgis, chicken nuggets, your zodiac sign, goofy puns, and more. MeUndies also releases collabs with some pretty big names like the Rolling Stones and Space Jam: A New Legacy, but you have to grab them fast because once they're gone for good. Kinda Funny loves MeUndies. You've heard the boys talk about them for years. They're comfort with good designs that make your friends jealous. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. We're also brought to you by Faraday brand. Can it be? It's finally summer, and we're actually gonna have a real summer this year. So naturally, we've started thinking about looking good after a year and some change, because we're going places. This summer is what Kinda Funny is calling Hot Boy Summer. You saw the jean jacket, you see the haircut, we're doing it big this summer. And that's where Faraday comes in. They make the perfect clothes for the summer. Tim Geddes is the most stylish person I know, and he even loves Faraday brand clothing. And they're so confident in the quality of their stuff, they have a lifetime guarantee of quality. They'll replace or fix your clothes forever, no matter what. And to top it all off, Faraday is giving our listeners 20% off. That's right, 20% off. So stock up on all of your clothes for summer now. Head to FaradayBrand.com and use code MORNING at checkout to snag 20% off all your summer gear. That's code MORNING at Faraday. That is FAHERTY brand.com for 20% off. Last but not least, we're brought to you by Upstart. If you're carrying a credit balance month after month, it can feel like you're in a never-ending cycle of debt. Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your credit card debt with a personal loan all online. Upstart knows you're more than just your credit score and is expanding access to affordable credit. Upstart considers your income and current employment to find you a smarter rate for your loan. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/KFMB. That is upstart.com/KFMB. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/KFMB.
All right, back there. Back to you. Back to Shaun.
The best part about watercrafts, like jet skis, Tim, is that it's completely acceptable to wear a rash guard and we have to wear a life vest. You can also wear a rash guard. So if you're worried at all about showing off your upper body to people, you don't have to worry about it.
To hell with it. And you look sick too with the neon life jacket.
Sick. Dude, I need a neon life jacket. That sounds fantastic.
Oh man.
So Bolen, again, I know we've gone all over this story, but back to the beginning. You talked about March to the Top, right? You talked about this crazy thing you did. Was it as soon as that ended you started planning this? Because I'm sure it's the same way for you. Like, we're all so busy running our own companies, being parts of our own communities, making all this content, playing games that, when I heard about this, thought it was you guys one day being like, you want to, like, an idea that came up organically and then you climbed to the car. I didn't realize there was so much that had gone into it.
Yeah. So it was a lot. I think on April 14th, I put in our Discord, I said, driving stream where subs equals miles. I think I put that in the Discord. It was like 3:00 in the morning on April 14th, which is when all the ideas come, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot. And what I didn't realize whenever we're planning it is like Grayson and I, we're live for 14 hours a day, right? Chase is running the boards 14 hours a day. Wes is on standby 14 hours a day. Chelsea is planning organic G1 meetups that may or may not happen 14 hours a day. And we have every single morning, Grace and I mean, that was all planned. What Wes was going to play was kind of planned. The route was planned. But it's like, even collabs, like Tim, it was like, okay, well, I'll text you in a few days if we make it to you.
Yeah, coordinating was complicated for that. I mean, but like that's just how that goes. But like we just luckily, it is the type of thing of just just hit us up and we'll see where we're at. And it worked out perfectly. It ended up being a dinner time like thing. But as you were talking to me like the day before, you're like, okay, so I'm in LA. And we're gonna leave LA. We're gonna hang out with Bruce. Gonna have lunch, and then we're gonna like come up to you, and then we'll have dinner with you guys. I'm like, you don't understand how LA works. Like California is not what you think it is. LA and San Francisco are 6 hours apart. Like they are not. Like you can do it as fast as possible, 4 hours with some change, right? But like. You shouldn't be doing that. So I was like, hey, bro, this ain't gonna happen. And somehow you made it all work.
Let me tell you about Interstate 5. That is the worst highway in America. From LA to San Francisco.
The 5?
Yeah, the 5. These dumb motherfuckers, okay? I drove for 6 hours on this road. Everybody was just driving in the passing lane. I complained about it while we were driving. I was just streaming. I was like, look at this dumb motherfucker who's just driving 40 in the passing lane. The entirety of whatever 5 was from LA to San Fran, it was nothing but these a-holes that would not get out of the passing lane. I was like, this is the worst highway in America until we got to Florida.
Always Florida.
I feel like we missed our calling with you because, this whole show obviously is going to be about your incredible journey, but we have been punting over and over again a topic from Kyle over on patreon.com/kindafunny, which was Kind of Funny should rank the states. You might have to come back because I feel like there's going to be a lot of states we're all like, I don't know anything about that state. So middle to bottom. I feel like you're going to be like, I'm here to air grievances and take down states.
No, like Florida is the dumbest state in the country. There's no doubt about it. I can tell you that, period.
I feel like the news has told all of us that as well. No offense to anybody who's in Florida, but you're surrounded by a bunch of morons a lot of them.
Yeah. Everybody that's not working at the theme parks doesn't want to live in Florida. I promise. They don't want to be there. Everyone's just sad. Salt Lake City was the weirdest vibes. As soon as we got to Salt Lake, I just felt like a bad mojo. I saw my first anti-vaxxer there with his sign protesting and stuff. Everybody was really rude. Bad energy. Bad energy in Salt Lake City. Let's see. And then
Myrtle Beach, no good.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach was trash. Omaha was a nice surprise. A young city. Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
Omaha's okay. Chicago. The world does not tell you that Chicago is massive. The world does not tell you this.
Oh yeah.
I thought Chicago.
There's a weird thing that until I went there, because nobody ever talks about Chicago, right? You always hear like New York, you hear LA, and then I go to Chicago, and I call Greg because he's not in this for this story. He's not.
Ring a ding ding. Ring a ding ding. Hello.
Hey Greg, it's your friend Nick.
Hey Nick. Oh, you're going to Chicago this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm actually here right now, and I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you, Sarah. A little tiny wishbone. Nobody told me how cool Chicago was. Why are you guys trying to keep this town a secret? What do you have to hide?
Well, Chicago founded on the shoulders of blue collar workers. Right? We're not very boastful. All right, we're over here in the Midwest. We're getting things done. We got some good food. We got some good hangs. We got some good weather. A lot of bad weather. Some good weather though. Some good sights. Some good sounds. Some good smells. Some good people. You know what I mean? And we're not one of these cities like fucking New York, who has to beat it into the greatest city in the world. Why? Because everybody comes there and you got a big billboard that lights up. You know what I mean? Get out of here.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Thanks, Greg.
Right, bye.
Say hi to Portillo for me.
I already hung up.
But yeah, I could rank that. I could rank the cities for you. Florida has the worst traffic and the worst highways in America.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it. Florida is just crappy. Man.
I've only been to Florida, I think twice, maybe one time. Yeah, one time. I went to St. Pete's, Florida. That's a place, right? St. Petersburg? No,
St. Pete.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, it felt like a town where literally anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like got like if you come to San Francisco, you walk down the street, you're like, I can't do everything here. This is a town that's got rules, right? There's like what is and is not acceptable in San Francisco. You go to Florida though, and it does feel like all bets are off. You can do whatever you want. You want to shoot firecrackers at a building? Go for it. Why not? It's fucking Florida, right? And there's a special magic to that. I don't know if it's good or bad.
I think that's why New York is the way it is, because New York's like that, and there are pockets of Los Angeles that are like that. In in touring. It was like you go to Hollywood Boulevard. It's like anything can happen here. Nobody gives a shit. We walked around New York for like 8 hours. And it was like yeah, anything could happen here and nobody would bat an eye. But I think ultimately, like I would have to say California is probably the best state in the country. You've got desert, you've got like Tahoe was another universe. You got to understand. Like I'm from Dallas. I'm from a town of 4,300 people. And like I've never seen anything like Tahoe in my life. And even like seeing San Francisco. Like San Francisco is incredible. California, I'm fascinated with Los Angeles. I don't hate it like people do. Got great weather, diverse communities, all the food you could possibly want. Just traffic kind of sucks, but California was absolutely the limit. There was I wanted to talk about this real quick. You were like the drive from LA to San Fran is like 6 hours. I cannot tell you how weird it was to be in LA and to be like, this is my car.
Yeah, that's always weird.
This is my car.
That would be weird. That would be really weird.
Yeah, and then it's like I have to take this fucker back.
Yeah, you got a long drive. Were you surprised? You went from LA to SF or vice versa?
LA to SF. Yeah.
LA to SF. Did you? What did you think of the middle part of our fine state here?
Just like the rolling hills, they look like Windows XP backgrounds, kind of stinky.
Yeah, pretty much. It's very stinky. Yeah, it's very stinky in the middle of our state.
But those mountains overcoming whenever you go into San Jose that's just magic, man. Cool, right? Yeah. What are you talking about?
Did you stop? You didn't stop at all in Big Sur, right?
I don't even know what that is.
That would have been the one place I would have said just you would have had to take the 1 instead of the 5.
Yeah.
But Big Sur is the most magical, weird place in any place I've ever been. It is, you are literally feel like you're in the mountains, and then you go down a little hill and you're at the beach. It's strange,
yeah,
and it's beautiful. It's unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah,
it's one of those places. If you're ever back driving on the coast of California,
if you ever drive the country again,
well, if you fly in or whatever, you want to go someplace, Big Sur is wonderful.
Yeah. So, like, did you regret it at multiple times? Just once? I mean, like, did you feel like, because Nick joked about it and you joked about it too, of just like I got to drive this back. That would be my thing of like, this is all fun and games until you get to the a coast and you're like, oh, now I got to drive back without me.
So whenever the cost was 3 subs is a mile, 700 bits is a mile. There came a time once we got to New York, it was like, after seeing about 120 people, we got to the point to where it's like, okay, no matter what, we're heading south. And it's like, these people on the East Coast have been watching us for 2.5 weeks. They've watched us visit with the people they know in the chat, and we have to go. So we cut, once we got to New York, we cut our price in half to where it was like a sub is a mile and like 350 bits was a mile. And, it kind of ate some of the cost, but it was like the stream became more important than you think it's going to be. So I did regret not anticipating the visitation and like what the camaraderie would be like with the audience. Mm-hmm. But as far as like regretting taking the trip, like it sits apart from the rest of my life, that 21 days. I mean, imagine, every single morning you wake up, you think, where am I? How far am I going? And what am I doing today? Right?
That's amazing.
It's about as safe as it's about as dangerous as I would ever want to be with my life. Right? Sure. There was still safety because it's like, cool, this is getting funded. We're making a living. People know where I am. But at the same time, it's like you wake up and you walk outside and you're in canyons on a lakeside hotel in Colorado, being like, what is this, Utah? And then it's like, and the biggest issue, this is why there won't be any like edited real content out of it either, is because like, where do you start? Like, cool, do I cut eating dinner with Bruce Green and Callie? Do I cut Santa Monica with 8 amazing G1s and me swimming with them in the beach? Do I cut Snowbike Mike dragging me around? Do I cut dinner with Kind of Funny? And this is 4 days in a fucking row. Like, do I cut us almost running out of gas in the Nevada desert? Like, there was a section in Nevada where we were like, let's get gas. Oh, there's a gas station 5 miles away. That was behind us. We were in the Nevada desert and we had to roll because we almost ran out of gas. And this was live. So like, okay, that's awesome content. Okay, cool. We're in the salt flat.
That's awesome content. Almost dying in the desert.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. We almost had to walk 17 miles in the desert. It's like, okay, cool. Now we're in the salt flats. Cool. My truck's breaking down. That would be interesting content in Salt Lake City. My check engine light's on. And then it's like, you get to Denver and you're meeting like 7 of the people in Denver were best friends that had hardly knew us. It's like, cool, that's awesome content, and it's every single day. It's almost frustrating that like there's that part of me that when we were making the content, I guess it's kind of self, but I just kept thinking, why are we not famous? Like I don't know if that's entitlement or not, but it's like I think it is entitlement a little bit, but it's like, how has this not gone viral? And that's the kind of content you want to try to create at all times, right? How has this not, if this doesn't, and by the end of the trip, what we do, like you release dopamine and shit every single day. You get support, dopamine. Friendly chat, dopamine. Good comments, dopamine. I crashed the next day when we got back from dopamine because I was so full of memories and reinforcement that what we were doing was so amazing that I was like, I was legit like, okay, cool. We just lapped the country and I couldn't get the world to watch it. And like, I felt like I almost like shut down the next day. And I was like, I don't have like, besides the office build and like the entire kind of shifts we're going to go through in the fall, I don't have anything in my imagination bigger than doing a 7,500 mile 3-day or 3-week road trip where we meet our audience. And so like, I guess going back to your regret thing, like there was like this, it was like a mini depression the next day because I was kind of crashing.
Yeah, if I can, for 2 things. Number 1, on your dopamine crash here, I can't imagine it. I've talked at length in the years, over the years, of like that feeling after Kind of Funny Live, that feeling after going to a PAX and having an amazing show where you go back to work or whatever the real thing is. And obviously we all love our jobs, but there is that thing of like, oh man, I miss the con. I miss the camaraderie. I miss being around the fans. I miss being there with the best friends. I miss like you're all together. And it's as always, right? Like, in the moment, it's something special, but then looking back, like, holy shit, like Kind of Funny Prom was a once in a lifetime thing. Kind of Funny Live 3 has happened 3 times, but it's different every time. And it is a different feeling every time. And to have that, like that hangover for something that's, for us 3 days or a weekend or whatever. Now you're talking about 3 weeks on the road, hundreds of people met, all these different experiences. Holy fucking shit. The aftermath of that, of having to deal with that.
It was weird. Go ahead.
I want a soapbox moment because there's never a good time for me to do this on Twitter. So I'll do it here on this show because whatever always happens is I see people dunking on quote tweeting angry about a shitty take on Twitter and then cycling that thing around. And plenty of people have done the whole like, hey, don't give this more attention. Don't give this more thing. This is what the person wants when this kind of thing happens. I'd like to go a step further and remind everybody that yes, that is 100% true. That when you share it as somebody who's usually it's somebody being like, I don't fucking gamers, what a bunch of losers. And everybody's like, wait a second, gamers aren't losers. I want to fucking share this and rage against yada, yada, yada. What always breaks my heart about everybody sharing that and that being the gaming discourse of the day is that there are hundreds of your friends and your content creators you love that would kill to have you retweet their stuff that you love. It's the old argument I always talk about, right? Of the, oh man, when I deleted the tweet about The Office being bad, right? And it was like, I'm doing what I hate. I understand that negativity is what fuels internet comments so many times. And it's so much easier to be like, I'm angry about this today and I want the world to know. You need to tell the world about things you love and you need to share that more readily, right? And that's the thing of what you're talking about, Bolen, of like, you guys did something amazing. And yeah, I watched it and I shared it the best I could, but I should have done more. And it's that same thing a lot of people could have.
It's hard because I'm not trying to be like, why not us? It's just like I'm trying to communicate more from like a creative side where it's like Man, like, what does it take to get to? What does it take to break? You know what I mean?
It's interesting because you started the podcast by talking about like where you envisioned yourself when you were 40, and saying that I can't remember how you phrased it, but it was the point where like you get a little bit of a, I guess, come up for a breath of some fresh air and feel like you don't have to necessarily grind. And is that correct? And sort of me remembering that from an hour and a half ago?
Yeah, no. I think it was. I didn't see my wife for 21 days, but it was, hey, this can be great now. And ultimately we just want to make livings as content creators. Towards something. But me and the guys, like, we look at it like this: let's be as creative as possible, have as much fun as we can. And maybe someday somebody will see what we're doing, and we can have a financial situation to where it's like we could stop streaming whenever we wanted. We could do this for 10 years.
You want to be basically, So I mean, the idea being like, hey, you want to be kind of set and not necessarily have to work, but you get to work on the projects that you want.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that like this is what we do is work, but it is fun and it is infinitely, amazing. But like, ultimately we want to enjoy life. And
I will say, if I can interrupt you there,
you're fine.
So I just wanted to make sure I had that point correct before I made my point. I thought exactly the same way all throughout my 20s and all throughout my 30s. It wasn't until I hit 40 where some people call it a midlife crisis. Other people call it.
Is that person your wife?
No, my therapist actually was one of the. He was like, I think they call that a midlife crisis. You get to a point where because I used to think, oh my God, we're gonna hit it big, and then I won't have to work. I'll just get to work. And I'm not saying that you guys can't hit that. Obviously, you guys you're doing amazing stuff, and maybe that'll happen. But what I would say is like the one thing I've learned is it's always going to be a grind, and so you have to carve out that time right now. You have to carve out time to really appreciate what you have and live in the moment. Because if you spend too much time planning for that day to come, you might hit 41 and still be grinding every day and having fun with your friends and still building a business. But I don't feel like the momentum, I don't feel like I'm at a place where I could stop the momentum in my life. I still feel like we're still building something, and it's just, like, I'm enjoying the shit out of this podcast. This is one of I took a second when you guys were talking. I was like, this is a fucking fun podcast. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And you have to do that every once in a while. So that's my little pearl of wisdom for a person who, you want to talk about being tired after 21 days. I take a nap after every fucking podcast at this point.
I want to jump in there real quick. And like just adding on to what Nick's saying is like hearing you, knowing what you did with this drive, how small your team is, how much work you had to put in, both you and Grayson driving, and then the team back home, like streaming, which like, think about the reality of that. That was Wes sitting there, never knowing when he was going to get called to. Like if
he had the hardest job.
He was just there, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's go time, and he had to be like on for a ridiculous amount of hours. Like the three of us know so well how hard it is to be on and then be off and then get on another show. The energy's just off. Imagining doing that 13 hours a day for 21 days when it's just minute by minute, hour by hour, you never really know. Like that is so rough. And so it's like earlier, Greg was talking about our 12-hour streams that kind of used to be 24-hour streams.
Yeah.
The reason they're not 24-hour streams anymore is like we had to look at ourselves and be like,
we're going to die.
How do we make the best content possible? How do we have as much fun as possible? How do we give the audience as much of what they want, but still be realistic and still understand that like, we are human beings. We can only push ourselves so far. And like, I love that we're always checking in on each other. Just like, hey, we need to go as hard as possible, but that needs to have some type of restrictions. And like, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life at all, but Bolen, how many times have I told you, like called you up and like, have you thought this through? Like, have you thought what this is going to do to yourself?
No,
like,
it is hard. I think about that as a boss too. Like, am I fucking these guys up? Like, cause I want it. I have, the way we look at our content, the way we look at our business, like I own the business, but like they have stake, you know what I mean? Like they're building their personal brand, they're building who they are. And, the idea of this, like I want all these guys to have houses and cars someday, right? and be happy and content and
have a life. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But it is like we are very clear in our communication in like are you good to do that? We took a week off as soon as the trip ended. Like we just took the whole week off, right? To kind of recoup. So we did have you know like a 9-day period, but you know, when we're doing March to the Top, when we're doing Persona 5 marathon, it's like, yes, this is hard. This is crazy. It's unhealthy to be doing this, like, period. Are we good? You know, are we good to do it? And then, but that's why we don't do this all the time, right? There was a 2-month break and stuff. But it is dangerous, and that is the danger of how we stream on Twitch. But it's what we have to do. I would love to set up a Patreon, and it just hit what our monthly revenue goals are on our Twitch channel. I would love to do that. We're just not big enough. We need to grow. We need to brand better. We need to hire more, which we can't really afford to do right now with all the office stuff. So with Twitch, it's every single day. Again, based on hope. Hey, I hope, you know, we hit our goals today. And we've monetized. The more money we make, the longer we stream, right? That's where I was just talking to Chelsea today. Like, that's the whole in the business model. It's a business model that is great and has gotten us to where we are and made us last for 4 years and grown our team, and we're getting a new facility and stuff. But in the fall, whenever we move to our new office, we are going to shift how we incentivize our audience and how we stream. And, you know, our health bar that we have that we kill with donations that allows us, that makes us stream longer, that may be on the chopping block. You know what I mean? It's just, but the time to do it is when we move and just kind of redraw some lines, and we will take another approach to how we do things and try to chill out and make these try to get these as like bigger events, and the bigger events that are like events rather than crazy streams all the time and then big events to try to hit that kind of.
It's hard, right? Because you have to strike a balance. Like, what we do is not what you would think of like a traditional job. We do it because it's creative. We do it because you can do stuff like you're talking about. You can take 21 days and go do some stuff. We can do 24-hour streams that are super fun. I mean, the 24-hour streams were a blast. I'll never forget one of the first ones we did. I think mine the first one. Me and Greg trying to figure out the Ghostbusters game that had no right to be as complicated as it was. It was so
23
complicated.
hours trying to learn. 23 hours a week trying to learn how to play this brand new board
and I'm like, it sounds like we're telling ghost stories to each other. I'm like, Greg, I don't think we're gonna pull this one out. But after a couple of years, you do have to strike that balance too between, like, you know, just having that balance in life. And I think that's incredibly important because it sounds weird, but one of the people that really kind of helped me realize that was my wife. She was like, you know, the more balance you have, the better the content will be. You know, if you're always driving yourself forward all the time, at a certain point, you're going to start throwing crap at a wall. It's just not going to be. And we've all been there. I mean, I've been there in the past month where I'm like, I burned it too hard and I'm giving people nothing. And that's why I feel bad for like the guys on the podcast. Cause I'm like, I got to at least hold up a quarter of this thing, right? I mean, I want to be here. I want to have the energy for it. And so you just have you got to be aware of that. You know, it's important to have a little time for yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, you just got to, I mean, for us, it's just, you know, it can be as simple as telling your audience, like, hey, we're fucking ourselves up. Yeah. We need your support. But I know G1s are going to watch this, but ultimately, when you get to the new office, there is going to be a point where it's like, hey, we're going to stream less, but we still need to make the same amount of money or else we're going to hurt ourselves, you know? Sure. Yeah. But when we are live, we're going to give you everything we have. And like, it's transparency with that. And Nick, you sound like my wife, Chelsea. Like you're awesome. Like, I think you're absolutely right. It's just hard, you know? I know. It's just crazy. You want to be successful and you're sprinting at all times.
It's that trade-off of running your own business as well.
Yeah. So jumping off of this very serious and honest conversation about how we all run our businesses and how you do yours as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about when you're on the trip and you know something's wrong with your health.
Oh my God!
Scored during.
Oh right, we haven't even talked about yours.
Yeah.
Okay. This will be a great. I don't know when your out time is, but this is the perfect way to end this, right?
We worry about your out time, but yes.
No.
This is a great way to end it. We'll end it here. Sure, we'll ride off.
I'm good. I've got nothing to do right now.
Here, Chelsea in the room, like, please come hang out with me.
We've been watching Dr. Death with Joshua Jackson. You seen this shit on Peacock?
No.
Oh my God!
Is it good?
Oh yeah, it's got Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin. It's good stuff.
Oh, my wife watched it. That's one of those. I walked in, I saw my wife watching this. I was like, kind of looked at her. She's like, "No, I'm finishing it. We're not catching you up. You're not."
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go finish that with her. Anyways, so we get past Myrtle Beach and we're on the way to Florida, and I'm like, God damn, I gotta fucking piss and. So I pee and it's like, oh, okay, that definitely feels like a UTI, urinary tract infection. I probably got it from that son of a bitch water at Myrtle Beach.
Fucking Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Yep. Or sitting for 21 days or not drinking enough water.
Yeah.
Or
these are all checking out.
Or sweating a lot by walking around New York City for 8 miles, or walking around Washington, D.C. at night and getting swamp ass. Anything could have gone up my piss hole. And now it's here to stay. Okay, so I get to the hotel and
Tim, do you not like piss holes? Is that not you don't call your piss hole?
Big fan of rat fuck, not such a big fan of piss hole.
Okay, got it. Good to know.
So I get to the hotel in Orlando and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm gonna die. I'm like shivering and shaking, and it doesn't hurt to pee, but every time I piss, it's a lot of urine. And it's kind of achy and kind of burny. And I want to shout out to the guy in Orlando at the hotel. His name was Bruce. And he gets there and he's like, "What's up, Brody?" And I'm like, "Oh, where's the bathroom? I'm going to die."
Like, not that much. I got to piss real bad.
And he's like, "Oh, it's around the corner. Go have fun. Hope you're doing well." And I'm like, "Thanks, dude." He's like, oh, God damn it. What did he say? It's the fucking catchphrase. He goes, "For sure with the high score." God damn. Oh, no. I got to. I know. Hang on. I got it. Okay. I've got to. I'm calling.
Don't worry about it. It's coming in a second, guys.
It's coming. I'm doing it right now.
Right there.
Doing it right now.
I told you the game attack is just like kind of funny. There's no difference at all. Phone calls are being made.
What did Bruce say with the high score at the damn hotel? Okay, I got it. Thank you. Okay. He's like, "Bathrooms are on the left, Brody." And I'm like, "Thanks, dude." He goes, 10-4 with the high score.
That's
fucking
great.
Bruce.
Fucking sick. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die. So I go up to the hospital. I do the MD stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool. We have a meetup at Disney with like 12 G1s at 6:00. It's 4:30, and I'm dying in the hotel room. And I'm shivering. I'm like shaking. My teeth are chattering and stuff. I'm kind of going into shock. Go to urgent care. They're playing Dennis the Menace with Christopher Lloyd, and they're blasting it in the lobby.
Naturally.
It just fucking
the way to go.
I'm like, I'm dying.
That sounds like hell.
And Christopher Lloyd is just like, like screaming while this kid's torturing him in the hotel or in the urgent care. I go in there and they're like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I got a UTI. I've had these before. I'm a gamer. I don't drink water. I've had UTIs before." And so they test my pee and they're like, "Your pee is so fucking perfect," because I've been drinking. I've had like 2 jugs of Pedialyte and stuff because when I woke up, I was like, okay, I'll just pee it away. He's like, "Your pee's great. Your pee's fucking great, Brody." And my pee's like clear and stuff. And he's like, "Here's some steroids. Get out of here."
Naturally.
And
Good.
so I take the steroids.
Nice.
I go back to the hotel.
Put Dennis the Menace on because you got to see the end.
Got to see how this ends. How's this wrap up?
And I just go to the meethub and I just like deal with like insurmountable pain while I'm hanging out with like 14 people. And the urgent care is like, the one thing it isn't is a UTI. I swear to God, you're just dehydrated and exhausted. Me, who's walked 12 miles and then driven 12 hours and then walked 8 hours and driven 12 miles, like, you know what? I've been on the road for 20 days. I could be a little tired. And so I believe him. Okay.
So they didn't give you any antibiotics for this?
They just gave me steroids. My pee was clear. There's no UTI. No UTI. Okay.
Impossible. This can't possibly be.
Yeah. So the next day, we go to Orlando and stuff. And okay. So 2 days go by, okay? And then we get to Louisiana, and we're at the gas station in Louisiana. And I'm like, cool. The pain is worse than ever. It's my back hurts. My back hurts. My pubic mound is pushed out and swollen.
Big fan of the pubic mound.
Okay,
You're back on the board, Bolen.
Between my belly button and like the crease of my thigh and pube mound are like aching. It hurts so bad. Okay, and I'm like, I've got to be constipated. I've got to be fucking constipated. Ask me why you think I was constipated.
Shaun Bolen from GameAttack. Why do you think you're constipated?
Because in Salt Lake City, Grayson and I defeated a 2-foot sub sandwich in a contest, and I'll be honest, I did not give that I'm talking 2 feet. We're talking.
That's big. 2 foot long.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's big
for everyone out there that doesn't understand Subways.
And we slayed it. Grace and I crushed it. I did mine with. We had to do it.
Was it like a BMT or something? Because I fucking love Subway.
No, it was turkey and lettuce and tomato. And we had to eat it in 30 minutes. Grayson did his in like 12. I did mine in 29 minutes and 40 seconds. I had 20 seconds left to eat my sandwich. I finished it. That sandwich did not get the shit it deserved. Okay.
So was it one of those you're like, I eat so much, and you're expecting the next day to be almost like a delightful struggle. Yeah. But instead, it's like a couple pebbles and just in that sound of like, I'm not ready to come out yet.
I would say a bunch of squiggly lines.
That's the worst. Okay. That is the worst. When it's Play-Doh and you're like, no, it's still in there.
And I was like, so I'm sitting at the gas station. I'm like, okay, first off, I haven't given that sandwich the shit it deserves. Also, that was 9 days ago.
Yeah.
I've got to be compacted as a motherfucker. Like, sure. that is a brick sitting in my stomach. So we get to the hotel. Okay. I'm like,
wait, I'm sorry.
Okay. What's up?
You hadn't had like a real decent shit in 9 days that were premiered?
I had shit, but like,
not a real shit.
My bowel is genuinely light brown, smooth, long, slightly firm. I have great. Like, people get mad at me because I'm like, I gotta take a shit, and then they like start to read a book, and I'm back in like 2 seconds. So they get mad.
They're mad at you about it. They're furious about it.
I'm a one wipe Sally. Okay? I don't need
That's
to
impressive.
wash. Okay,
impressive.
I use one sheet at a time. I don't even. Wow. Anyways, not really. So I get to the hotel. I take 2 laxatives, and I wait. And again,
oh dear God.
Okay, I take some X-Lax and I wait. And I'm like, okay, nothing's happening. I must have such hard shit in my belly right now that the laxatives aren't breaking it up. Oh, I gotta take it up. I gotta take the next step, Nick.
Don't take it up a notch.
Okay, I gotta take the next step, okay? So I'm like, okay, got to find a Walgreens or some shit because I got to get a suppository. If you don't know, a suppository is a piece of wax you put in your butthole and it lubes it up, and then the bowels just kind of spill out of you, and it's very nice. Okay, so I drive around.
Very nice.
There's no 24 Walgreens in this area. I had to drive an extra 10 minutes, but on the way to the Walgreens, I pass an ER. So while I'm passing it, I'm like, I'm about to go put a lot of shit in my butt. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna come back for you. Okay. So I drive past the ER, go to Walgreens. I get a box of 6 enemas and a suppository 4-pack. Okay. I go back to the hotel, and it's like Saw. You know, I'm like, okay. it's like okay, because if 2 X-Lax aren't doing anything, I'm trying to shit and nothing's coming out. It's like, okay, I've got to like something bad's happening here. It must be rock solid. And I'm just thinking about the 2-foot sandwich from 9 days ago.
You can't forget.
Yeah. And so first I do the suppository. I put it in there. I lay down on the bed for 20 minutes. My stomach is killing me. I'm dying. Probably like one of the worst pains of my entire life. And then I go to the restroom. I poop out the suppository wax and a little bit like brown little nuggets. Nothing. It looks like goat poop. It's not even worth it, right?
It's an insulting amount. And
so I'm looking at the enema box, and it's like dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, and I'm like, okay, it's enema time, okay. And so Grayson's asleep because it's 2:00 in the morning. By the way, I got to get up at 8 for our meetup at IHOP the next morning,
as one does.
God.
Okay. Oh, and a 14-hour drive back to Dallas. So I get in the bathtub. And I get knees on the bathtub and I lean over the edge of the bathtub, ass up, elbows down, and I dude, they say you put the bottle in there. It's like a nozzle like that big. You put the bottle in there and you squeeze. Damn, this bottle did not want to let the liquid go. I was like, I got, look at that fist. Look at that fist I was putting on that.
Sure.
I filled myself up, okay?
One does. You have to. You're there. You're trying to do this. Yeah.
I cannot believe this story didn't end with Grayson being woken up and having to help you squeeze it in. That sounds like such a kind of funny situation where Nick knocks like, Tim, I'm so sorry, but I need you right now. I would do it for you, Nick. I want you to know.
I appreciate that, man.
I don't know.
Grayson said, I woke Grayson up the next morning. I asked Grayson. Grayson was like, I would have done that for you 100%. I've done it for you 100%. But so I'm in the bathtub.
Content.
Okay. I stand up full of enema and I'm like, oh, and so I immediately go and I take a shit and I look and it's like nothing but what I just put in my butt. Okay.
Yeah.
In a panic, I just do another one right there on the toilet.
Jesus Christ. Boy.
In a panic.
I've been there. You're like, I can fix this.
Because it's like, okay, enema not working. Okay, I'll try it again. I'm right there on the toilet, reach up between my legs, and I'm just fruit gushering myself. And I get it up there, another full bottle, throw it in the trash, and I sit. And I'm like, okay, maybe it needs to work its way up and loosen this brick in my bowels. Maybe I didn't give the first one enough time. And so I sit there for about 15 minutes until my butt's just like, oh, fuck you. And then it just goes, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh no, nothing but more water.
Yeah.
And it is clear water. I'm empty. There's nothing coming. If there is poop in my, it is deadlocked.
Yeah, it's high up there.
It is deadlocked, right? Okay, so I'm like, okay, cool. I got 2 more suppositories left. 1 more suppository. I'm gonna lay on the bed. I wake up Grace and I say, hey, if I don't shit by 2:30, I'm going to the ER. So I do another.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and he goes back to bed. And again, all the while, like my stomach is critical. Like I'm almost like crying in pain. It is.
Yeah, this is funny now, but not at the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is like I'm like, oh my god, am I gonna die? Is this bad? So I do another suppository. I go poopy. Nothing happens. I go to the ER. By the way, the Florida ER full of COVID patients at 2 in the morning. Yeah. Not even, like the doctor's like, have you had your vaccines? And I'm like, yes. He's like, thank God. No, this is Louisiana, not Florida. Excuse me. Might have been Alabama.
Louisiana's having a real bad time right now.
Yeah, and he's like, good, because we've been filling up and we're in a shitload of trouble. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I go get a CAT scan and I tell this whole fucking story to the doctor and the nurse, and they're just kind of. They're like, oh, interesting. But you can tell they're going to be like, this idiot's just got like a bladder infection or something.
You got a bladder infection.
He's in the dog shit out of himself, and there's just nothing wrong. So we get an MRI. The girl comes back with the test results, and she's like, you have a UTI, and it's bad. There's blood in your urine. I'm like, but Florida said, she was like, Florida. Yeah, she was like, Florida is damn wrong. Your white blood cell count in your urine should be like 4. Yours is 66.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's more than 4.
Yeah. And
nice
she was
Scarpino.
Yeah, so she goes, it's a pretty gnarly UTI. And she was like, here, take these antibiotics, you're free to go. And I was like, so you mean I've been enemying myself for the past 4 hours for no reason? And she's like, she laughed. She was like, yeah. I was like, okay. And so at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get back from the ER. I go to bed. I wake up, I feel great. Piss a lot, a little bit of burning, but I'm already better after 2 hours. And then on an hour and a half of sleep, I drove all the way home after that.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Now, did you poop at all at some point?
No. It was
this day still hasn't pooped.
Like,
he's
so still in there.
Yeah, I was so empty. Like, yeah, it was crazy. The next day, I had like a little bit of like the laxative issue, but it was like there was nothing.
That's crazy. Yeah,
nothing.
Those things, UTIs are fucking. They're nothing to screw around with, man. Those can be very dangerous.
I want to say poop stories usually not worth it. This one,
that was a good poop story.
That was the best poop story I ever heard. Good job, Bolen. I'm happy that you're healthier than you were in your trying times.
Yeah, it was just a UTI. I don't know.
As you called it, that is a great way to end it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kinda Funny podcast. Remember, the show's not over. We're going to patreon.com/kindafunnygames for the post show. You should go there too. Of course, you could have watched this entire show live. You can write in to be part of the show. You can get your name right on the show. You can get the show ad free, and you can get the very post show we're about to go do. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way in the future, it's no big deal. YouTube.com/kindafunny, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every week, twice a week. One day Andy will come home and be on the show as well. Bolen, where can people keep up with you if they're not coming over to hang out for the post show?
Twitch.tv/GameAttack. Also, I once had 11,100 Twitter followers. I was really excited about it. I started talking about things like social issues and politics that people didn't like hearing about, and I'm down to 10,800. And I cannot break through past 11,000 again. If I could get like 100 Twitter followers and you could just validate my emotions, that would be amazing. I'm just craving to see 11,000 again. It just bothers me. Been hovering
Shaun,
like a mother.
We're gonna put your Twitter in the link to the episode. But if somebody's listening, where can they follow you on Twitter?
Twitter.com/Shaun Bolen, ShaunBolen. But kind of Game Attack. I just want to say on record, we are a much smaller channel than you. You guys, I hope you know the kind of values and inspiration you have on us every single day. I have modeled my personal philosophy as a business owner and content creator around things that you've instilled on me in the past year. And it means a lot that you would have me on this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Man, we appreciate that. That's awesome. You did a great
Shaun
job.
Bolen, you're a hell of a person. Don't worry about it. You're welcome here anytime. You know that. And Game Attack deserves your support, everybody. Twitch.tv/GameAttack or Twitter.com/Shaun Bolen just to get him back to that 11K mark. For now, we have a post show to do. So if you're not coming with us, remember, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.